Hello everyone, Larissa here, and this video comes to you via Houses and Trees, where I blog about sustainable design, sustainable living, sustainable eating, sustainable everything. If you'd like tips on eco-friendly design and decor, green living, and plant-based eating, then please check my blog out. The link is in the description below. If you're interested in all things sustainable as well as all things creative, then please subscribe to this channel, because that's what it's all about. I wanted to make a video listing my 5 must-have food items for new vegans. I want to explain how I use the term vegan. I use it to describe more of the plant-based eating lifestyle as opposed to veganism as a whole. Not because I don't believe in veganism as a whole, I absolutely do, but I think that if we use the term vegan in a way that's more recognizable to sort of just, you know, the individual starting out on this journey, it's a recognizable term. They equate it with not eating animal products. So that's kind of the description that I personally use. It really is more of a plant-based eating is what I'm going to be talking about here. And of course, these must-have items, you don't have to have anything. I just wanted to show some things that have made my transition into being a vegan or eating a plant-based diet. It's just made it so much easier because these are things that are super versatile, that can be used in your favorite recipes in place of animal products, and that are just so delicious that even people who are in my life still, who are not vegan or don't eat plant-based, they're like, damn, this is some good stuff. So here they are. Number 1 is a plant-based milk. That's probably one of the things that people who do eat animal products think when they think of going vegan. They think, well, like, what about the milk? You know, what about milk in my cereal? What about milk in my coffee or tea? What about a glass of milk when I have in some cookies? So finding a plant-based milk that you not only like, but that you actually love is super important. I tried a few different products before I found this one here that is my absolute favorite. This is the Earth's Own So Fresh Almond, which is made in Canada, so I don't actually know if you can get this in the States. There's so many options. That's the great thing now about eating a vegan diet, plant-based diet, is that there are so many options. You've got your almond milks, you've got your oat milk, which I actually, when I run out of this, I just make oat milk out of oats at home. You can have rice milk, which I've tried before. You can have soy milk. You can have cashew milk, which we personally cannot have in our house because my older daughter is allergic to cashews. There's really no need for any other kind of milk than this one because I just love it so much. So in the blog post, I shared links to recipes that I have on of Houses and Trees that incorporate the different food items that I'm going to be showing you. So the recipe that I used plant-based milk, specifically this almond milk, in is when I make vegan cinnamon twists, which growing up, it was like my mom's baking signature. Like that was the thing that she made, that when I would take it to school, like specifically around the holidays, that all of the other kids would be like, oh my God, you have cinnamon twists. I have to have some too. And yeah, so I make them now. I just make a vegan version, and instead of using dairy milk, I just use almond milk. Thing number 2 is a plant-based margarine or butter. Now I use the terms margarine and butter pretty interchangeably, which is probably blasphemous to people who are, you know, chefs and hardcore cooks. I don't use butter at all, vegan or otherwise. I never really have. I've always been more of a margarine person, and I bake with margarine as well. So I don't even know if this would be called margarine. This is a Earth Balance traditional spread. You can get it in this brand with a few different like plant-based ingredients. I like this one because it's soy-free. Not that I have anything particularly against soy, but I know some people have soy allergies. And also, you know, if you're eating things like tofu and other soy-based products, I like to mix it up and not always be having a soy protein. Just as with milk, having a good plant-based vegan margarine is really important, so that you can, you know, put it on your toast, you can melt it over top of your noodles, you can melt it and put it on top of your popcorn, you can also bake with it, which the cinnamon twist recipe that I mentioned that I use the almond milk in, I also use this in. But probably my favorite thing to make with a plant-based margarine, specifically this one, is gravy. I like gravy. I mean, it's gravy. It's gravy. Gravy. You know what I mean? Like, it's gravy. So, of course, you have to have a vegan gravy. if you're a gravy person, if you like your mashed potatoes, if you like your fries, if you like your drinking gravy with a straw, which is something I've done before. I like gravy, what can I say? So that is another recipe that I have linked to in my blog post, and I actually also just linked to the recipes separately on their own below if you would just want to check those out. Thing number 3 is a plant-based mayonnaise. You kind of are familiar with some of the plant-based food items and the sort of like things that vegans eat. I think Mayonnaise is probably pretty well known, but guys, if you have not tried this stuff, oh my God, like it's a million times better than any sort of like egg-based mayonnaise that I have ever tasted. It is so like light and fluffy, and the flavor is just amazing. Just putting it on like a sandwich or something like that is a fantastic way to eat it. It's awesome for, and probably my favorite thing to use it for, is to make like salad dressings and dips. To make a vegan ranch dip, I take this, I put in a little bit of apple cider vinegar, I sprinkle in some garlic powder, dill, some parsley, and some dried chives, and I stir it up. It probably takes me like 30 seconds to a minute to do, and that's it. And you got ranch. You can put it on your salad. You can dip your veggies into it. If I make fajitas, we'll quite often put that on there. And the recipe that I have on my blog and linked below that I use the Mayonnaise in, but you could also, of course, use any other kind of plant-based mayonnaise or kind of spread, is I have a post where I did a bunch of different healthy salad dressings, and in 2 of those salad dressings I used Mayonnaise. Chickpeas are a must in a plant-based diet. And if you say, I don't like chickpeas, I don't like garbanzo beans, because didn't realize this before, but same thing. Took me a long time to figure that out. But I will tell you this, I hated chickpeas when I was a kid. Hated. I actually hated all beans except for green beans. I refused to eat them. I was not at all a picky kid. That was the only thing that I wouldn't eat. But basically when I decided to stop eating animal products, I was like, girl, like get over it. Eat some beans, you'll be fine. And now I love them. I love chickpeas. Again, because they're so versatile. You can eat them cold in a salad or in a pasta, which I do both of those. You could just eat them baked as a snack. You could, quite often when I make like mashed potatoes and vegetables and gravy, I make baked balsamic chickpeas, and that's like our protein for that meal. And that's the recipe that I have in my blog that I will link to below. You can also mash them up and have kind of like a instead of like a tuna salad, you could have a chickpea salad. You can, and then there's all different ways that you can use them in baking and stuff like that as well. I haven't really tried that as much because I just like my chickpeas to just basically just be chickpeas, but I know you can like incorporate them into like desserts and into cookies. Just so you know, I buy chickpeas in a can, but I also buy them bulk. The reason that I don't only buy them in bulk, which all my other beans and my legumes and that sort of stuff I buy in bulk, but I just find that chickpeas, I just love them so much. And when I want chickpeas, sometimes I don't have the time to wait for them to, you have to cook them, you have to soak them, they have this longer process. So then if that happens, then at least I have a nice big can of chickpeas on hand to just pull out and just eat them all up. And my number 5 thing that I have to share with you is tofu. Maybe it's a cliche to say plant-based diet, you got to eat tofu, and you don't have to eat tofu. I mean, I know people who don't eat animal products and they don't eat tofu either, but if you're one of those people who is like, ugh, that's so gross, like it looks gross, like I can't even like wrap my head around it, like I just am imploring you, to try, just try it. And if you don't like it, maybe try it cooked a different way, or maybe try a different style of tofu. I mean, this one that I have here is like a medium firm tofu that's packaged in like a water. And this is the kind that I use to make like tofu scrambled, kind of like vegan eggs. And that's the recipe that I will share down below. So this I kind of like mash up and drain the water out, and then I saute it up and add in a bunch of spices and stuff, and it's so good. But if you want something that's more like of a I guess like a chicken replacement, like something that you would have in a stir fry. You would definitely want more of a firm tofu. And then if you saute it up, all I do is just saute up with some soy sauce. You can get smoked tofu that if you slice it really thinly, it tastes kind of like a deli meat. I've seen people use tofu in their desserts and in their baking. Again, my kids eat it cold. Like, I don't even like tofu cold, but if I'm cutting tofu up to cook it at a meal, like my kids are like stealing it off of the plate, risking getting their fingers chopped off because they have to have the tofu. So if you think it's weird and gross, it's just because you haven't tried it the right way. And that's it. Those are my 5 must-have vegan food items for people who are just getting started out. If you aren't just getting started out and you haven't tried any of those items yet, then maybe you want to add them to your food routine. If I've missed something that you really love, then please comment down below. And of course, I have to make one last final note because I am a self-proclaimed tree hugger, and that is what Of Houses and Trees is all about. Is yes, the majority of the food items that I showed you today do come in packaging. The chickpeas are bulk, so that doesn't come in packaging when you bring it into your home, but of course it would have been in packaging when it was at the bulk store before they put it into the bins. The canned chickpeas, at least they're in an aluminum can, and that can be recycled pretty easily. The Mayonnaise is in a glass bottle, which again, that can be recycled pretty easily. The almond milk was in kind of like a Tetra Pak, and that if you have like bottle recycling in your community, you can recycle that there. The tofu and the margarine spread are in plastic containers, both which can be recycled, but I do like to avoid plastic packaging as much as possible. What I have to say about all of this is that it's never about being perfect. Eating a plant-based diet is not about being perfect. Trying to reduce your packaging and your plastic packaging, it's not about being perfect. It is about trying your best and doing the best that you can every day. Maybe one day you don't do as good of a job as you want. Maybe the next day you do an amazing job. Being afraid of messing up and eating something that is animal-based or buying something that's in packaging that can't be recycled, those aren't reasons to not try. Don't be afraid. Be excited. Thanks for watching. See you next time. I forgot I'm actually recording. Oh, it's super loud. No, what am I trying to say? I have no idea.